On Tuesday evening, Jakub Jankto took to his Twitter and posted a rather interesting, nearly minute-long video. Now, that's not normally unusual. Professional footballers do, in fact, take to Twitter to promote things or sometimes to just make statements to their fans. But this one was a little bit different. Why exactly is that the case? Well, that's because Jakub Jankto was choosing that very moment to come out as gay. Now, that is an interesting moment for a variety of reasons, not least because till date there have been very few footballers who've actually come out as gay, and even less so among active footballers. And Jankto is arguably or easily the most high profile of all of those players. So what exactly is the type of impact that this could potentially have on the sport, and just how big a moment is this really? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. But first, before we move on to answering those rather important questions, it's important to note that his announcement was met with an outpouring of love and support, not just from the entirety of the footballing community. In fact, let's go over some of the more interesting or nice responses that came out to the tweet. First off, let's talk about what it is he said. He said that, like everybody else, I also want to live my life in freedom, without fears, without prejudice, without violence, but with love. I am homosexual and I no longer want to hide myself. That's the key part there. As he said, this is something that has been something of an open secret in many years, that there would be far more players out there who would be gay than actually who would rather come out publicly. But Jankto said very clearly that he was done being that person who was hiding himself. So he wanted to be out there in the open and bring about his sexuality and make it a public or something of public knowledge. His club actually put out a statement afterwards saying that, we're very pleased that he's done this. We're happy to support him. You do you, Jakub. And there were other statements or rather responses to the tweet in which he put out, or rather he came out. The first was, one of the more interesting ones was that of the Premier League, the English Premier League, to reply to the tweet saying, we're with you, Jakub. Football is for everyone. This, of course, wasn't the only response that came. There was also a response from Chelsea, one of the Premier League clubs, that said, football is for all. Chelsea fully supports you, Jakub. There was another response that came the way of Jakub Jankto from FIFA's official account, which said, we're all with you, Jakub. Football is for everyone. Although, considering the fact that the FIFA World Cup was recently held in Qatar, a nation that is known to be a place for plenty of anti-LGBTQIA plus activity, as well as laws illegalizing or making it illegal to be homosexual, this one definitely didn't go down as well with fans as it would go down in other places. So, well, these are the major responses, and let's also look at why exactly this is such a big deal, or why we are saying that this could very well be a watershed moment for the LGBTQ plus community in the world of football. First off, he is, as I mentioned, the highest profile openly gay player to have actually come out and publicly acknowledged the fact that he is in fact a homosexual. And what's more important is that he received a very positive response from everyone. So if this had to be maybe 20 or 30 years back, you can guarantee that the responses to this would have actually been a lot more divided, let's say. But you didn't normally generally see that this time around. In fact, the response, as I said, largely a very positive one, and that in turn can actually lead to more and more players actually taking the route of choosing to come out and acknowledge their sexuality, thus further normalizing the fact that yes, there are players who are there who are gay, and that is perfectly okay. Now, that is the major impact part when I'm talking about why it is that this could be a watershed moment for the LGBTQ plus community, because the more players, or especially active players who are part of or born in this generation, come out and normalize this, the more it becomes something that is seen as less and less of a taboo and more of a normalcy in the world of football. So that in itself is the big positive, and perhaps one of the better responses came from Bayern Munich manager Julian Nagelsmann, who actually has had a rather poignant, interesting thought which he put out. I thought I'll share it with you guys here. So you can see it on your screen right now. He says, I do think that it's courageous that Jakub Jankto came out, but I think it's a shame that we have to discuss it as courageous, because it should be a novelty. But I'm very pleased for him that he's done it, and hope he has a more comfortable life as a result. That first part there is very, very interesting, where Nagelsmann says that, look, it is brave, but it's kind of sad that we still have to acknowledge somebody coming out is brave. It should be seen as a normal thing. Now, that is to be fair, the goal that we are now working towards as, of course, a community of fans of the beautiful game, that it becomes a more open, inclusive space. But Nagelsmann's goal, which is a very, very noble and correct one, will only be accomplished as players get more and more comfortable and open regarding their sexuality, and fans become more open and accepting of their sexuality as not being something taboo or something bad. And in that sense, that is why, Jakub Jankto, you've done a very, very brave thing, and for that you have, not just from me, not just from but from everyone, the utmost respect for choosing to make this decision, and thus potentially make it easier for scores of footballers around the world who probably be facing the same dilemma as to whether or not they should come out or keep their sexuality private, and also making it easier for fans and normalizing the homosexuality in the eyes of people, as it very well should be. Thank you all for joining us in this particular video. If you enjoyed our work over here at Sports Today, please don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, leave us a comment, and of course don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and last but not least, also download the Sports app. Thank you all once again for joining us. If you're already on the channel, please do check out some other videos that we've done on the channel through the day as well as yesterday. For now though, from my side, goodbye.